What is something that is considered normal for a man to do, but if a woman does it then they will receive backlash? Grow a mustache. Be standing up. Having body hair. Edit. Thanks so much for all the awards. This is my first at getting awards. I remember vividly the first time a boy in middle school told me you should probably shave that and pointed at my thigh. I asked what he was referring to because I could not, for the life of me, see anything there even with my glasses on, and he pointed again, showing me in the sunlight my very white blonde leg hair. What a strange, new feeling that was to experience. Edit. My notifications are full of multiple anecdotes that share the same theme. Ducking heartbreaking, seriously. When I was about 14, a guy told me that he could see my arm hair growing back because it was spotty and that I should shave. Those spots were my freckles. Duck shaving your arms. I know plenty of people do it, and that's perfectly fine if they want to. But I already do grooming of my very dark, very coarse below the waist hair. I'm not shaving off the fine stuff when it doesn't bother me at all. The irritation from stubble seems like way more trouble than it's worth when that hair isn't very dark. Be me in 6th grade. Me, Persian AF and therefore hairy and dark AF. We were all walking to the soccer field together during P and some kid I didn't know at all said very very loudly, "Your arms are so hairy. They're hairier than mine." That was ducking embarrassing. I went home and cried all night. My mom wouldn't let me wax or shave at that time, so she decided to bleach my arm hair. I felt a bit better about it even though you could still tell my arms were hairy. Then the next day the kid singles me out again and says, "You bleached your arm hair. That's pathetic," and then everyone laughed at me. So I stole my dad's razor and shaved my arms and then was stuck shaving my arms every day or two until I was 17 BC. I was so self-conscious. Also embarrassing BC, every time someone would touch my arms it would be prickly BC. I was shaving them. That was a fun time. Edit. Thank you guys for all of the support and the award. I'm glad my experience resonated with so many of you and warms my heart. We're all in this early youth trauma together. Kids are assholes and assholes also tend to be quite hairy. You poor thing. Duck that kid. Take their shirt off. I have a vivid memory of being 10 or 11 during a very hot summer afternoon. It was right after school and the boys popped their shirts off, so I did too. I was so confused when they all gave me shit and told me to put my shirt back on. We looked the same. I didn't look the same as the boys at 10, but at 8 I still did. However, that was the summer when, first day of summer vacation, going outside to play on the swing set in our backyard, my mom told me I had to put a shirt on. In our own backyard. Technically, the neighbors could see if they had binoculars, or stood right at the edge of our property, but what a blow to my childhood freedom that was. It was just after 2nd grade, starting 3rd grade, my mom bought for me half-length undershirts for girls, think thin cotton sports bra, which I'd say was a sort of pre-training bra. I got my first training bra, I think, when I turned 10, and JUUST starting to develop. Around age 8 I implicitly got the message from my parents that I had to start wearing one-piece bathing suits. I could sort of see why because I started developing breasts already and I was embarrassed. Puberty hit at age 9. Before that I had always worn briefs and I hated the cold wet feeling on my stomach from the fabric. On the other hand, I refused to wear bikinis because that would have made the breasts even more explicit. Childhood was never the same after that. Sigh. Stupid jeans. Edit, a word and a sentence to clarify. Walk around and be treated fairly in Iran. Speaking of which, I hope all those protests in Iran won't be for nothing. Let's hope for a big change and that women finally can decide themselves whether they want to wear the headscarf or not. Have hairy underarms. I noticed my older sil had hairy underarms, like really hairy. When I was a kid and noticed it, I asked her why she had hair there and she said it keeps me warm in winter. Lol, I love that woman. When I first saw this, it was an older sister's friend and she would confidently throw her arms up in the air. My little teenage head exploded. I was almost mad nobody told me that was an option. Like, wait, we can do that? Then I thought about it and realized nobody is going to call the cops on you to come kick your door in if you don't shave. Never went back. Sit the Iron Throne. Shave your hair off. One of our female teachers in high school shaved their head for Street Baldrick's foundation and then she kept it like that for a few years after a few kids made fun of her for being bald. She owned the shit out of them. I will be honest, I had her and I did not like her, but I have so much respect for her and completely changed my opinion of her after that. We still keep in touch 10 years later. I had one of those teachers. I appreciated her more as I got older. The shit she managed to impress upon us even with the public education restrictions. Ms. Vicky Fowler, you're a boss bitch and am so grateful for you. I also have one. I actually call her my soul mom. I had her for history in 8th grade, English in 9th, and then when I was gearing up to become a single mother, she responded to a Facebook post I made. She gave me a job, and helped me fill out all of the paperwork needed to get on my feet for the first time. I had a horribly abusive childhood, and she was none the wiser until I began to work for her. She began to see the broken child in me, and she never stopped believing in my ability to do better. Her and her husband decided not to have children due to genetic risk, but my son calls them his grandparents, and I like to think it's worth something. I'm forever grateful to have finally found a mom when I was 27, I'm 29 now. I quit that job a year ago in order to respect our relationship, and it was the right choice in the best possible ways. Not wanting kids. When a man is good with kids and or wants kids someday, he is called a catch, in combination with other good traits, meaning that the opposite, not being good with kids and or not wanting kids someday, is common and normal, but not great. A woman who does not want kids or is awkward with kids is seen with an unkind eye. Not being your child's primary caregiver. Normal for a dad. Failure for a mom. Calling it babysitting when watching their own children. Keep their last name after marriage. Edit, this really blew up. Thank you for the awards. Refusing to pick up your kid from school because you're at work. My husband's coworkers give him shit any time he has to miss work to do childcare. If kid is sick etc., we alternate missing days, but his bosses have outright said, "Why isn't your wife doing this?" on his days. After a couple years of this, he started bluntly replying that I'm the primary breadwinner, so my job is frankly the more important one right now unless something changes at his workplace. My husband is a sod and the teachers still message me first instead. My kid's mother isn't even in the picture and they will call my mother first even though I'm the primary contact and she's secondary. That seems like a common thing, and I've wondered before if families with two dads would cause them to short circuit. Okay, but which one of you is the woman? S. Stop dyeing gray hair. Be angry. You're emotional. I can't find the link, but this woman worked in an office with all men and one guy was a yeller and had tantrums. Management was like, "Oh, that's just him." So she started calling him emotional. Like in meetings, if he yelled, suggest they table the meeting until dude was less emotional. Or if someone asked her about his reaction to something, she'd say, "Well, I can't get much sense out of him when he's so emotional." At every opportunity, she referred to his tantrums as tantrums and being over-emotional, but in a very neutral tone of voice. And it worked. Everyone began to think of him as too emotional. Dude had to start controlling his outbursts to get taken seriously again. Edit, you vacation and you old narwhal 9904 found the link. https www.reddit.com Ramathy assholey comments view of Aveda for Kalimiho tempered guy co-worker? Ut medium android appet source share. I love this. Anger is an emotion, people. Not wanting marriage. I'm a woman in a long-term relationship with a man, over 7 years, and I don't want to get married. People act so shocked when they ask when we're getting engaged, and they always give me the smirk, and I say, "Oh, I don't want to." I also hate when people talk to my partner like I'm the old ball and chain who's going to be begging for a ring soon. Go bald. Being old. Or even just being a fully grown adult. The first time I got called a MILF I was literally 20 years old. Even 23-year-old women get treated like they're over the hill by many people. I started feeling like my life was over because I didn't know any women who were open about being in their 30s. I had no image in my mind of what my life might look like.